Today on Don't Talk TV, I want to talk about what is the definition of a weapon in Canadian law. Hello, my name is Nicholas Wansbutter. I'm a criminal defense lawyer in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to Don't Talk TV. Continues to be the summer of being insanely busy at my work, so I want to do another quick video. And this one came up recently when I was explaining to a client what is a weapon. He was placed on a weapons prohibition order, so I was explaining to him what he can and cannot carry with him. He was very surprised at what constitutes a weapon, so I thought it'd be worth doing a video on this because this can be important for a number of reasons. For example, carrying a concealed weapon is always illegal, and you want to make sure that you're not doing something. You don't want to accidentally run afoul of that law. And for the example that generated this video, if you're ever bound by a weapons prohibition order, you need to know what constitutes a weapon. It also has potential applications for the charge of possessed weapons for a dangerous purpose. So our starting point is always the criminal code for a definition of what is a weapon. So I have the criminal code open on the Justice Canada website, and section 2 of the criminal code lays out the definitions of what certain words mean in the context of the Criminal Code of Canada. So if we scroll down here to weapon, here's what a weapon is under the Criminal Code of Canada. Weapon means anything used, designed to be used, or intended for use, A, in causing death or injury to any person, or B, for the purpose of threatening or intimidating any person. And, without restricting the generality of the foregoing, includes a firearm for the purposes of Section 88, 267, and 272, anything used, designed to be used, or intended for use in binding or tying up a person against their will. Section 88 of the Criminal Code is the possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose. So something like handcuffs could mean a weapon for the purposes of that section as per that definition. 267 is the kidnapping provisions of the Criminal Code. Section 267 is assault causing bodily harm, or use of a weapon in committing an assault. And Section 272 is sexual assault causing bodily harm or with a weapon. So for those particular sections, the definition of weapon extends to things that could be used to tie someone up, like handcuffs or zip ties. Now, this brings us back to used, designed to be used, or intended to be used. So let me give you an example. Knife is something that comes up very often in these definitions. This is just a knife that I got at, I can't remember if it was Canadian Tire or Cabela's or something, but just your typical knife. Now, a knife in and of itself is not designed or intended to be used, or is not designed to cause death or bodily harm. It's designed to use for any number of things. Cutting rope, carving wood, being a makeshift screwdriver, things like that. It's a tool when it's used or you're possessing it with the intention of using it for one of those applications. Now, if you actually use it, if you try stabbing someone with a knife, now it's become a weapon. Or if you're carrying it with you with the intention of stabbing someone with it, you've made it into a weapon. This is especially important when it comes to carrying items for the purpose of self-defense. Something like a knife that's a tool becomes a weapon if your reason for carrying it is for quote-unquote self-defense. The law as to whether carrying a weapon of self-defense is a dangerous purpose, contrary to Section 88, is something that I think deserves a video of its own. But for the purposes of this video, carrying something for self-defense makes it a weapon. So if you're carrying a baseball bat, normally that's meant to hit baseballs. But if you're carrying it with the intention of using it as a self-defense item, it's now a weapon under the definition of the Criminal Code. So if you're under weapons prohibition order, you're allowed to carry a baseball bat to go to the ball diamond and hit a few balls. It would be illegal for you to carry a baseball bat for self-defense because now it's a weapon, and if you're under weapons prohibition, you cannot have any weapons. So this is extremely important, and with knives, again, they're they can be fairly small items like this one. If you're carrying it in your pocket, it's concealed. So if you're carrying that knife for self-defense, you're now carrying a concealed weapon. Whereas if you're carrying it just as a tool for some of the usual uses that I outlined, you're not carrying a concealed weapon, you're carrying a tool in your pocket. Some people may say, well, how would police know what reason I am carrying it for? Well, police can use the circumstances of a situation to determine that. The most common way that I see it come up is when police search someone, they find a knife and say, hey, why are you carrying this? And instead of exercising the right to silence, the person says, oh, for self-defense, thinking that this is going to somehow help them. Telling police that you have anything in your possession for self-defense is pretty much guaranteed to get you charged. Now, whether that means you actually be convicted or not is going to depend on the circumstances of the case. But in the eyes of police, in my experience, carrying anything for the purpose of self-defense is not a legitimate reason, and you can expect to be charged. So again, that's why it's important to know what the definition is of a weapon under the criminal code. This video is not legal advice. If you need legal advice, call a lawyer or call myself. My 1-855 number, my website are listed below, and we can give you specific advice tailored to the situation that you find yourself in. If there's any topics that you'd like to see me cover on this channel, please leave a comment in the comment section below or send me an email. And if you found this video at all helpful, informative, or interesting, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing, and following me on social media.